Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad. This is my channel Animate Orange, and this week in 3D metal model news. We have a little bit to go over this week, of course, as usual, starting with Fascinations. We have a couple of models that have moved from coming soon to what's new. The big one is the Iconics Darth Vader model that I know a lot of people have been waiting for. That is now available. Did see that on Innova Toys for sale. Probably will start showing up some other shops very soon. And also, I believe the P40 Warhawk also moved over with that. So those two new models, which I think previously I talked that they were going to come out about the end of the month, right on time. So Fascinations usually doesn't like to talk about when things are coming out, and they officially didn't, but behind the scenes apparently they did, and they got it pretty well on the nose. So two new models coming out. Also at the same time, we got the latest Metal Earth newsletter. It does show a picture of the P48 or P40 Warhawk, and it's kind of a come get it now. It's out and available. And also, as usual with the newsletters, there is a latest Metal Earth challenge. A Metal Earth model vacation. Send marketing at fascinations.com a short story and a photo depicting a scene of your Metal Earth models on vacation for a chance to receive the gift of Metal Earth and be featured in our next newsletter. Deadline: entries must be emailed to marketing at fascinations.com by Tuesday, September 15th. Rules: short story must be a minimum of 1 paragraph. Image must be of a scene from the vacation story. Get creative with this. Make sure to have fun and do not forget to include your full name and mailing address. So if you're interested in entering the latest Metal Earth challenge, there's the information right there. Bit of a vacation with your Metal Earth models. An interesting idea. And I do want to congratulate both Jacob Gardner and Shirley Wu for being selected from last week's contest or challenge. Going over to PeaceCool's website, there are some new models showing up there as well. So not only Metal Earth, but PeaceCool is on the ball. The first one that showed up was, and I apologize if I get this incorrectly, it's the Richelieu battleship. Probably I'm not saying that right. It's I believe a French battleship. Kind of like the battleships. There's a lot I don't have. I'd like to get more, but here's another one from PeaceCool. Very colorful looking, well, semi-colorful. It's got some red and gold accents. I like the look of it. It apparently has a launch date of the 27th, so it should be already out, well, coming out. Might take it some time to show up in stores or online. 3 4/5 sheets. It is plus 8 car parts, according to the website, the translated website. There may be a mistranslation there. 300 parts, brass and stainless steel, a length of 31.5, width of 5.6, and a height of 6.7 centimeters. 4 out of 7 star difficulty. And again, it's colorful. A little bit of color. I like the gold accents on that. I would love to have some of these battleship models that I don't have. I've got 3 ships over here now, but I'd love to get some more. The other thing that came out, and pardon me, I did not take but so much time to try and translate what's going on here, and what I got didn't make sense, and I didn't have time to ask for help. So I think GarthTube will probably, in the comments down below, make some comment about what's going on here. But it looks like they've got some Shanhai Jing metal bookmarks. It looks to be seven different ones, possibly in some sort of interesting case. I don't think they're sold together, but they might be. Might be just several different versions and you have a choice. I'm honestly not sure. Might have to wait until it comes up for sale to see if that's going to be the case. I tried to translate the names. What I got was a little confusing. Tangu, Phoenix, Exemplify, Lovebirds, Beach Irrigation. Don't think that was quite right. And then it just got weirder from there. So I'm not going to go into much detail because I really can't go into much detail. It looks as if they have a size of 175 by 2 by 100 millimeters dimension. So a length of 175, the width of 2, height of 100 millimeters. And they, I think, are set to come out on the, or were set to come out on the 24th. So they should probably be showing up on like AliExpress or different stores fairly soon, though I haven't seen them yet. And looking over at MU's website, I did see what appears to be a couple of models coming soon from them. We have the Nantian Gate, which is, it looks like it's 3 110 by 190 millimeter size sheets and 2 110 by 95 millimeter sheets. Translation got a little weird, but I think it was trying to tell me there's 148 parts, and the finished size is 130 by 25 by 90 millimeters, and it's a 5-star difficulty on that. And then we have the Yangmeng Lakes, which has, I think it's just 4 sheets, 110 by 190 millimeters, 106 parts, 125 by 125 by 80 millimeters finished dimensions, and this one is a 4-star difficulty. And that's pretty much it as far as the new models coming up that I'm seeing. I did look around on AliExpress and I didn't really see anything new in any of the stores I normally visit. So we've got some more models coming from PeaceCool and from MU, and who knows what other surprises there'll be next week, but I'll keep my eye out for them and try to let you know when I see them. One thing that I wanted to mention, something that I saw on the Metal Earth subreddit that I kind of wanted to bring up. I'm a little interested in it and brought it up a couple of times before. A MIGUGETE user on the Metal Earth subreddit posted a model of Iron Star's The Villa of Haizo style, and it's a video, and it's one of the models that I talked about the past week or two from Iron Star that has a lot of like foliage and plants and whatnot and a lot of extra stuff with it, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And they've got some video of it and some close-ups of it, and they talked a little bit about the build and what came with it, which just further fascinated me. They talked like the instructions were pretty good. They didn't mention having any difficulty with the model, and they talked about one of the things that really I didn't expect. The pool is actually, there's like a gel that you put in and it kind of hardens and it has a blue tint to it. I'll read you some of what they said. The pool is a flat piece with drawings of fish on it. A separate piece forms the wall. Then you fill it with the gel, which hardens and is tinted blue. The metal model itself is simple, plenty of individual furniture pieces indoors. The wire trees were surprisingly easy to build as the instructions are very clear. Once formed, you paint them brown. Once dry, you apply glue to the branches and sprinkle the foliage on them. This was ridiculously messy. Maybe it's the fact that I've not built them before. The ground also had parts where you apply glue, then sprinkle sand and more green stuff. And then there are the LED lights inside, but I must have gotten bad batteries because they don't light up. I don't care about them though, but I did integrate them as the instructions ask. I have the castle model as well, and I'll put that off for now. So, seemed to be a good build. I know people had asked about, or someone asked about the Iron Star, and then I saw a post about how someone had an Iron Star model and they did not like it, talked like it was bad. But this post, this is every bit, if not more, fascinating than I expected to be. The instructions apparently were really easy. You basically build the pieces, paint them, put some glue, put some glue and sprinkle parts, and the fact that the pond has like a gel that you put in there and it hardens, I thought that was pretty cool. I really even more want to get this and try it for myself. There's so many awesome models coming out, like this one right here, and the Frankenstein one that I talked about a while back that I kind of like to get because it's just kooky. There's so many awesome models coming out, but I wanted to share that. And you know, I'm going to put a link in the description below if you want to check out that for yourself. Thought it was pretty cool. Now, last week I had posed a question. I haven't been doing that every week, but I basically said I'm curious about what people think about all the architectural models that PeaceCool and MU have put out. And kind of, you know, would you like to see Metal Earth do that? Are you liking them? Would you like to see, you know, a lot of it's very Chinese architecture. Would you like to see something else? Kind of posed a general question, and I got quite a few responses. Top of the list that I saw, not in any particular order, just the order that Metal Earth, or not Metal Earth, but YouTube gave them to me when I went to look before this video. Like, this one says a lot, Emma Welch. I think that the MU and PeaceCool models are really nice. They tend to be relatively intricate and a lot bigger than most Metal Earth models. Metal Earth does have a lot of architectural models, but they mostly just silver and not nearly as detailed. I'm not really interested in seeing many modern buildings, mostly because they tend to be pretty uniform in color and won't be as interesting. One thing I've seen MU and PeaceCool do is make architectural models that are more fantastical or based off of Chinese folklore in some way. I'd like to see that done with some Western mythology, maybe an artist's rendition of Mount Olympus. If I had to choose real-world architecture to be a metal model, I'd say the Sphinx, as it might have looked 2,000 years ago. Detailed renditions of old Gothic churches with arches and stained glass windows, a colonial American-style mansion, or any of the buildings located in the downtown areas of big cities that are covered in murals and graffiti. Some pretty neat ideas. I like that. I think that's maybe the best comment of them all. There's a lot of information there, a lot of thought about what kind of stuff would you like to see brought up. There's some really large American homes, older style homes that might make interesting models. I hate to bring up plantations because there's a lot of negativity associated with plantations, and rightfully so. America does not have a good history in that aspect, but there are some beautiful homes that would make some nice architecture. But do we honor that? That's sticky ground right there. I'm going to walk away from it. There are certainly other examples of interesting architecture that could be brought. And the idea of what would the Sphinx have looked like 2,000 years ago, that's pretty cool. I like that very much. Richard Kroll commented, in response to the question of the week, I am a big fan of the architectural models and have built quite a few Metal Earth. Will always have a way to go to match or exceed, Metal Earth will have a ways to go to match or exceed what PeaceCool and MU have out already. Not going to argue there. PeaceCool and MU do have a fantastic head start, and Metal Earth hasn't really put out much architecture lately. Pritham Prithviraj, apologize if I've said that incorrectly, commented, so I'm definitely more in favor of the sci-fi space vehicles. More Star Trek, Stargate, and so many of these ships here, and there's a link to an image or images, I haven't checked it out yet, would be absolutely fantastic, and more real ones like the upcoming ISS are definitely on my list. I've got a few iconic architectural ones, but they just don't hold many interest post-assembly like some of the other ones. To be fair, I haven't tried any of the micro-world ones yet, so I can't speak to how those hold my attention. And of course, we're going to have people with varying interests and opinions. There's a lot of people that are interested in the Star Wars models. That's why they keep doing it. But not everybody. I do see that there are a group of people out there that would like to see more architecture. Logan Springer, yes, I think Metal Earth should make more architectural models. Those are my favorite. One of the many models they could release is the Statue of Liberty. I think they would sell very well, and I would definitely save up for it. Keep up the great work. Short and simple, Statue of Liberty would be an interesting one, especially since we've got so many other figure type models out now. It seems a lot more feasible. Cyrenaisis, apologize if that is even pronounceable. It's a username. Getting ships from gamers would be awesome. How about the Vic Viper from Gradius, Nemesis, Axelay, or the R9 from R-Type? Space Invaders or Galaga might be a nice addition to the Legend series. I like architectural models. I'm building the Trevi Fountain right now, but while ME has many buildings, many are just so blocky. Good for beginners, but often not that interesting. The Chinese style buildings look phenomenal, but I haven't got the chance for them yet. I do have some micro-world architectural builds like the Burgos Cathedral and Blue Mosque. They look amazing, but the metal is too thick and are a pain to build. I'd love to see more complicated and colored ME buildings. If you Google for interesting architecture, there's a link with 50 iconic buildings, including cathedrals, temples, and castles. A colored Chateau Frontenac I'm terrible with pronunciations. Wawel or St. Basil's would be awesome. Fictional stuff like Minas Tirith might be cool too. And that, you know, now that I read that, there was a hint of some possible or some prototypes, mock-ups of some stuff from Lord of the Rings. But the people that I've talked to, they don't even know why that was done, because I haven't even heard of anything being in the works. It's like somebody did some prototypes and it just kind of went away. Would be nice to see some of that. There's some interesting architecture that could be tapped there. Max Musterman, I would absolutely love more architectural models. Metal Earth could at least mix in some from time to time, but I also understand that Metal Earth seems to cater more to young men. At least it seems in the West. That is the main demographic building these models, so we get mostly planes and Star Wars. In the East, the demographic seems to be more female, which seems to like the architectural models, but also don't forget the political reasons why in China traditional Chinese stuff is suddenly so popular. The CCP pushing nationalism almost everywhere there, so all the Asian manufacturers will jump on it. And that's interesting. There was somebody that did a survey of people who were building, and it seemed to be who were building models. It seemed to be very male dominated. I expected more females, for more ladies to be out there building models, but there wasn't that many according to the survey. Interesting that according to this, in the East, the demographic seems to be more female, and that's fantastic. As far as the push of nationalism, yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it. It's really fascinating, interesting architecture, and other countries are buying into it. But yeah, definitely seeing that they're pushing that very much. John V. Architecture is cool. Give these companies a way to make models and not have them have to license them. Going to look for these spooky kits. Short and sweet. There is one thing there. You do some of these architectural models and maybe you don't have to license them. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but it seems like that might be easier. And last, Fabian S. I would indeed like to see more architectural models from America or Europe. Europe has more historic buildings and castles. That might be interesting, but I'm also happy with the Star Wars models. And castles is something I forget about. I imagine Europe would have a lot of potential castles to pull from to make things more interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. I don't dislike the buildings. I think I've mentioned this before. When I got started with these models, I was very much one of the ones that was into the Star Wars, the Star Trek, the licensed stuff, the Marvel stuff, the Batman stuff. I didn't really have a lot of interest venturing outside of that, but I eventually started to because people were requesting it. And one of the Japanese buildings, not the Kankakuji, but there was another one that I keep forgetting that someone requested, and I went ahead and built it, and I loved it, and it really turned me on to do more architectural models. I don't typically think of I want to do an architectural model, but pretty much every time I've done one, I've really loved the outcome. We've got this big cathedral over here sitting in the corner that I would have never have done on my own, but someone requested it. It was a struggle, and it was irritating, but it looks fantastic, and I love it. I absolutely love that. And the castles and whatnot. I'm working on Hogwarts in snow. It's a really frustrating doing all of those spires and cone-shaped tops, and they're not turning out all that great, some of them. But it's a really fascinating build, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I don't feel like I'm one to talk much about architecture. That's why I posed the question, and there's a lot of really nice feedback there. So thank you, everybody, for commenting on that. What are some, say, American or U.S. architectural models that we could make something out of? Just, I don't know, not to just say we should go with American or U.S. stuff, but maybe North American, even including Canada and Mexico. I know down in Mexico there's Mexico has its own pyramids, and maybe some of those would be really interesting. What are some Western buildings or architecture that we could really have some fun with? Just thought this question up in the middle of me making this video because I really didn't know what I was going to ask this week, but there it is. some ideas. Leave your answers in the comments down below. And I don't know, maybe Metal Earth will take notice of that and give us some ideas of what the US branch of these 3D metal models can start putting out. I'm going to leave it at that. As always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting this channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you enjoy these videos, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. There's links in the description down below at the very end of this video. And I will see you next week. I'm still working on the Hogwarts in Snow. I work a lot slower now because I'm working full time, but I am still building models, and the Hogwarts castle does take some time. But I'm getting there. Getting there. Thank you for watching. As always, keep on keeping on.